Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty significant for anyone managing Windows 11 Enterprise with Intune. Hotpatch is now generally available.
That's right. It's not just a minor tweak. This could really change how we handle monthly patching.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really break down what Hotpatch means for Windows 11 version 24H2. We'll look at, the benefits, what you need to have in place, and how to actually use it with Intune.
Yeah, aiming for practical insights you can actually use. We're pulling from the official Windows IT Pro blog announcement, Microsoft Learn Docs on Hotpatch itself, and some good analysis over at checkyourlogs.net too.
Okay, let's jump right in. What is Hotpatch fundamentally, and why should experienced Intune admins like our listeners really pay attention?
So at its core, Hotpatch lets you apply security updates to Windows 11 Enterprise. Well, without needing a device restart.
No restart, that's the headline, right?
That's the big one. Think about it. You're closing security holes almost immediately, but your users, they just keep working. No interruptions.
Which directly addresses that age-old problem of balancing security immediacy with, well, user productivity. Monthly reboots can be disruptive.
Hugely disruptive. And Hotpatch aims to cut that down significantly. We're talking about going from potentially 12 mandatory restarts a year just for patching down to only 4.
4. How does that work? Is there a new schedule?
Microsoft's set up a quarterly cycle. So January, April, July, and October, those months get what they call a baseline update.
Okay, and the baseline is the bigger one.
Exactly. It includes security fixes, but also potentially non-security improvements, feature updates, that kind of thing. And these baseline updates still require a restart.
Right, makes sense for a larger package. So where does Hotpatch fit in?
In the 2 months following each baseline, so February, March, then May and June, and so on. In those months, the security updates are delivered as hot patches.
So those are the restart-free months, security only.
Precisely. Keeps the security posture strong without the reboot hassle. There was actually a quote from Michael Meyer at Kronos AG on the IT Pro blog.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
Called it a game changer for maintaining security without disrupting users. It really highlights that real-world benefit, less risk, less friction.
Okay. The why is clear. Definitely compelling. So let's talk about the how. What are the prerequisites? What do environments need to have in place to even use this?
All right, let's nail these down. First hurdle is licensing. It's not for every edition.
Okay, what licenses qualify?
You need Windows 11 Enterprise, E3, E5, or F3. Or on the education side, A3 or A5. Also, Windows 365 Enterprise subscriptions cover it.
So specific enterprise, education, or W365 subs.
Got it.
What about the OS itself?
Needs to be Windows 11 Enterprise, specifically version 24H2. And not just 24H2, but build 26100.2033 or later. Critically, you also need the latest baseline update installed for that quarter.
You can't just jump onto Hotpatch midway through a cycle without being current.
Correct. You need that foundation. Then there's the CPU architecture.
Right. Is it universal?
Not quite yet. It's generally available, so fully supported for x64 CPUs, your standard AMD and Intel processors.
Okay, so most desktops and laptops are likely covered. What about ARM64?
ARM64 support is there, but it's currently in public preview. So you can test it, evaluate it, but it's not GA status yet. Comes with some caveats too.
We'll definitely need to circle back to those ARM64 specifics. What else on the core requirements list?
Management is key. You have to be using Microsoft Intune.
Only Intune. No other way.
Nope. The delivery mechanism relies on a specific Windows quality update policy configured in Intune. That's mandatory.
Okay, Intune is a must. And security settings, anything there?
Yes, Virtualization-Based Security, VBS, has to be enabled and running.
VBS enabled. Is that just a simple on-off?
Well, interestingly, the comments on that IT Pro blog post clarified something important. It's not just on, but requires a specific configuration denoted as #2. You need to check that specific VBS setting.
Good detail. Setting #2 for VBS. Okay, so let's tackle those ARM64 specifics you mentioned since that's in preview. What's the extra requirement there?
Yeah, this one's important for anyone testing on ARM64. You have to disable something called Compiled Hybrid PE Usage, or CHPE.
Disable CHPE. Why?
Seems the current Hotpatch implementation for ARM64 isn't compatible with the CHPE binaries. So to make it work in the preview, you need to turn CHPE off.
How do you do that? Registry hack.
Friend, yes, it's a registry key. HKLM system, current control session manager, memory management, Hotpatch restrictions. You need to create a dword value named, actually, the key is Hotpatch restrictions. You said it's dword value to 1.
Okay. Hotpatch restrictions dword set to 1 under memory management. Does that need a reboot?
Yes, a restart is needed after setting that registry key for the change to actually take effect.
Right. Is there a better way coming? Like a CSP?
Microsoft says yes. They plan to release the Disable CSP after the April 2025 security update, which should make it easier to manage through Intune.
But the crucial point for ARM64 planning...
The crucial point is that Microsoft currently has no plans to support Hotpatch with CHPE enabled on ARM64.
Wow, okay. So disabling CHPE is the long-term plan for Hotpatch on ARM. What does that mean practically?
It means the OS will fall back to using emulated by 86 binaries instead of the native performance-optimized ARM64 CHPE ones. So there could be performance hits, maybe even application compatibility issues.
So thorough testing is absolutely critical for the ARM64 preview.
Absolutely. Performance and compatibility need close scrutiny there.
All right, assuming we've met all these prerequisites, licensing, OS, CPU, Intune, VBS, and handle the ARM64 stuff if needed, how do we actually turn Hotpatch on in Intune? What are the steps?
It's actually pretty straightforward if you're used to Intune update policies. You go into the Intune Admin Center, navigate to Devices, then Windows Updates, and find the Quality Updates tab.
Okay, standard path for quality updates.
Then you create a new Quality Update policy. Inside the policy settings, there's a specific option, something like when available, apply without restarting the device.
Hotpatch, and you just switch that on.
You set it to allow, configure that, assign the policy to your target group of devices like any other policy, and you're basically set.
What about existing update rings, deferrals, active hours, deadlines?
Good question. Those existing settings are still honored. Hotpatch works alongside your current ring configurations. It doesn't replace them entirely.
And does Intune figure out which devices in my target group are actually eligible?
Yes, that's the neat part. Intune automatically checks the prerequisites on the targeted devices. You don't need complex filters for eligibility.
So it simplifies targeting. How do we monitor the rollout?
There's a dedicated report for that. The Hotpatch Quality Update Report. It gives you a policy-level view of the status across all targeted devices. Pending, installed, any errors.
Okay, that's helpful for tracking. Now, inevitable question, what about the devices that don't meet all those prerequisites? Are they just left vulnerable until the next baseline?
No, thankfully not. Devices that Intune sees as ineligible for Hotpatch just carry on as usual, meaning they'll continue to receive the standard latest cumulative updates the LCUs each month. Those updates still require restarts, of course, but the devices stay secure and patched according to your normal update ranks.
So there's a built-in fallback to the standard LCU process. That's reassuring. No device gets left behind on patching.
Exactly. It ensures continuous patching coverage, regardless of Hotpatch eligibility. Your existing workflows for those ineligible devices remain unchanged.
Makes sense. Now, while Hotpatch sounds great, are there any important, maybe less obvious, things administrators need to keep in mind? Any caveats?
Yes, definitely a few points worth highlighting. First, if a device is enrolled in a Hotpatch policy, it won't be offered any insider preview builds or patches. Hotpatch follows the stable patch Tuesday cadence.
Okay, so it sticks to the GA channel releases. What else?
It's crucial to remember that Hotpatch updates are restart-free, but other things might still trigger a reboot during that quarter.
Like what?
Like OS feature updates if you deploy those, maybe firmware updates, or even some application updates. Hotpatch only eliminates the restart requirement for the security updates between baselines. It doesn't promise zero restarts ever.
Good distinction. Security updates are restart-free, but the overall device might still need occasional reboots for other reasons.
Precisely. Another key point. There's no automatic rollback for a Hotpatch.
So if a Hotpatch causes an issue,
you have to manually uninstall it. The process itself is usually quick, but uninstalling a Hotpatch does require a restart to revert back to the previous state, which would typically be the last LCU.
Okay, manual uninstall requires a reboot. What about troubleshooting if things go wrong? Where should admins look?
Microsoft Learn has some good guidance. The basics are, first, double-check all the prerequisites again. OS version, baseline, VBS setting, #2.
Verify eligibility first. Makes sense.
Then confirm VBS is actually running using system information, InfoThrough2. Make sure the Intune policy is correctly set to allow Hotpatch and targeted properly.
Check the policy config and assignment.
For ARM64 preview devices, re-verify that CHPE disable registry key is correct. And then Event Viewer is your friend.
What should we look for in Event Viewer?
In the system log, look for an event confirming enrollment. It's something like allow rebootless updates should have a value of 1. And in the application log, Search for events containing the word Hotpatch. The OS actually monitors install hot patches and logs errors if it finds problems.
And if it finds a critical problem with a hot patch?
In serious cases, the OS might even proactively trigger a normal LCU installation to ensure the system stays stable.
Okay, so there are mechanisms to detect and potentially recover from bad hot patches, even if rollback isn't automatic.
Correct. Troubleshooting involves checking prerequisites, policy, and logs primarily.
All right, let's try and pull this all together then. For the expert Intune admins listening, what are the absolute key takeaways on Hotpatch?
Okay, the big wins are definitely, number one, better security through faster patching, and number two, way fewer user disruptions thanks to fewer reboots. That means better productivity, happier users.
And the quick check for readiness. What are those core prerequisites again?
Right, you need the right Windows 11 Enterprise or edu license or W365. The OS must be Win 11 24H2, build 26100.2033 plus A with the latest baseline installed.
For architecture.
By 64 is GA, ARM64 is public preview with that CHPE caveat. Management must be in tune via quality update policy, and VBS needs to be on, specifically setting #2.
And the implementation steps boil down to?
Verifying all that eligibility stuff, especially licensing and OS baseline. Confirming your architecture, mostly OS 64, careful with ARM64 preview. Enabling VBS correctly. Then simply creating that quality update policy in Intune and setting the hot batch option to allow.
And for ARM64 preview testers?
Don't forget disabling CHPE via registry for now or the upcoming CSP later. It's essential for the preview to work.
So thinking bigger picture, this streamlined patching cadence, it could really allow security teams to be more proactive, right?
Yeah.
Maybe free up admin time for other critical Intune tasks.
Absolutely. Less time spent managing reboot cycles and fallout could definitely shift focus. It's worth digging into the official Microsoft docs for the really deep technical details and planning your own rollout strategy.
Good point. Always consult the official docs.
So to quickly summarize the key actions or patches to think about this week based on this, primarily it's about evaluation. Assess your environment's readiness for Hotpatch on Windows 11 24H2.
Check those licenses, OS versions, VBS settings.
Exactly. If you are eligible and ready, the action is creating and assigning that Intune quality update policy with Hotpatch set to allow.
And if testing ARM64,
remember the CHPE disable step for the preview and for any devices not meeting the requirements yet.
they just continue getting standard LCUs via your existing update rings. No immediate action needed there. They stay patched.
Precisely. Focuses on evaluating readiness and enabling for eligible devices.
All right, that covers Hotpatch quite comprehensively. That concludes our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us.